And then I want to say the same exact thing happened again with like fuel cell or my plug or fuel cell, one of those charger station companies. I bought some, lost my password, and then once I see it happen twice in a row, I said, okay, you can actually, I don't have to worry about trades, because at that point I was kind of like trading a little bit, and just really understanding how the market worked. And then once I said, you can really hold these things, and it really the compound interest really works. I just started buying stocks all the time. That was 10 years ago. It's been on ever since.
That's dope. So you've been in the game about 10 years. What would be, there you go, it's up. Now, when you started 10 years ago, I'm assuming you started out, because you seem like a person to where you're kind of like, I would say, patient with money. Like you know, some people, they're impatient. They want to be in this trade. They want to be on that trade. So how did you develop being able to stay in your lane to where certain things don't throw you off of your track, I would say, if that question makes sense.
That's just me. I'm very calculated. I kind of plan things out. And so in reality, outside of investment, I'm not as financially responsible as I should be, to keep it a bean with you. But I'm working outside of my plan. I get off track and waste money on dumb stuff. But once I have an actual, but the plan outside of my money is very planned out and calculated, if that makes sense. And I just kind of stick to plans, and I always have a goal. My mind is always kind of probability oriented. So I kind of put a probability on every scenario that I can and try to achieve the one that's the most probable and the most successful at the same, most profitable and probable at the same time. That's just kind of how my mind works.
Dope. Q, Jay, you had a question before I went to the next one?
So, I'm going to let you go with your next question, and I'm going to follow up with that.
Okay. So, since you've been in the game for, like you said, 10 years, what would be some of the biggest lessons you've learned, good and bad?
It's kind of the same lesson. Fully believe in what your thesis, but at the same time be willing to say that you're wrong.
Wow, like that.
And that's because to really, really do this correctly, most time you want to go against the popular trend or be ahead of a trend. So in the initial scenario, a lot of times it's going to be a solid bear case against your thesis. Because you're trying to find something that's it's a reason why that position is at a value right now. And once you get there, though, if your trade doesn't work out, if the underlying reasoning changes, you have to be able to recognize that and get out of those bad situations at the same time. So you got to be very convicted and nimble at the same time. It's hard to do, but that's kind of how you got to do it. And even no matter what your trade is, even if you a day trader, you got to be willing to say, okay, this my setup is here. I'm ready to jump all the way in. And then you got to say, my trade's not working out. I'm ready to get out. It's real quick. And I think a lot of times it took me a long time to get there because I would be afraid and not confident on the front end. And then on the back end, I would be stubborn and wishing and hoping my trade will work out, even though I'm watching it's not working out. You know what I mean? So those are two things. You got to be confident enough to go all in, but yet know when it ain't working and be able to say, nope, this ain't working. Let me, my thesis was wrong or changed. Let me readjust.
Big facts. And I definitely always agree with you there. Now, I know that you love to research as far as companies, right? And obviously, that's a part of fundamental analysis. Now, when you're researching the company, right, regardless of what sector the company is, what are some things that stand out to you that makes you that ensures or confirms your decision before investing? Because I notice a lot, like, whenever you break down certain companies, there's things that you like and there's things that you just mentioned. But I notice that, whenever I do hear you in the mornings, that when you like something, it kind of gives you that conviction of, investing into it. But what would be some of those things that you look for when researching a company?
I always go with industry first. I like to start off in growing industries that have a bright future. It doesn't matter how good of a company you are, especially on the long-term investment side. No matter how good of a company you are, how good of a CEO you are, if you're in a dying industry, you're in a dying industry. Now, and sometimes you're able to recover, change the business plan, expand the business model, cool. But if your overall industry is not certain place, I don't see a future in your industry, I don't even look at you. Now we're going regardless of industry. Then it goes really like the free cash flow is always important. Low debt, cash flow over debt is always important. But hopefully we have growing earnings year over year, quarter over quarter, and we have a solid vision of the future in the growing industry. Like, that's like, you gotta be trying to do something different in this growing industry and have a moat. What do you got going on? What are you doing that nobody else is doing, that nobody else can do or have a hard time doing in this growing industry? So you got, like, that's the two things for me. You got to be in a popular industry and have something technology-wise, personnel-wise, brand-wise that nobody else can emulate in a growing industry. So, like, a good example is, I was about Apple. Nobody else can make Apple phone. Won't happen. Now, other people make cell phones. Nobody else make an Apple phone. That brand name is solidified in a certain segment of society that nothing else can just based on just the moat of the brand alone. Then you go into the quality, the size of companies, a whole bunch of other things with it. But that moat of the brand alone is so big that everybody from 90 to 9 months pretty much knows what an iPhone, iPad is, knows how to work it, and that's not going nowhere in my mind. So little stuff like that is just that brand moat. That's a good example. In an industry that's growing and won't stop growing is the type of stuff I look for.
10-4. QJ, you had a question? I can ask questions. I can ask Benz.
Oh, yeah, I know. Nah, I got a quick question.
I like how he breaks down a lot of information. And again, right. I think what's really important is to understand people's thought process, so therefore you can, take bits and pieces of it, so therefore you can mold to, become as far as, your own. Because again, I just feel like every time I have a discussion about with Benz and bring up a stock, he just has a unique, different aspect of looking at things, and it's just, it's always been something that I find, really, interesting, and just the kind of how he funnels information. But go ahead, Q.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, man. Talking with Benz about this stuff is definitely fun. And for that reason, I got this question for Benz, right? I want to get his perspective on the question. So, Benz, my question to you is this, right? If you had to say you was able to identify three of the most key, how can I put this? Three of the most key asset skills that you've had to put together or identify to make you a better trader or investor. What would be those three identifying factors or those three identifying traits that you truly had to learn to curb or comprehend?
The first one's always value. Meaning Clubhouse, whatever it is now. But the growth in the value in Tulio is still there. But it's doing a lot of those penny stocks, although it's a penny, yes, it could go to $10 for a penny, but the odds of that are so much smaller. Give me the highly established company because there's more value there, even though it's more expensive. That would be the first one. The second one is finding marketplace abnormality. So a lot of times you can find let me give you an example, like options contracts. You go on options, you go on a chain, and you can find, sometimes you'll find that random 1 cent contract that probably shouldn't be 1 cent. Or you'll find that one strike price, one premium in between the two strike prices that's too low because the chain hasn't caught up. So sometimes there's inefficiencies in the marketplace that you can exploit just because the way the market goes. If you really understand the option chain is probably the best one that we can all relate to. Is that you really understand the option chain and dig through it. Every once in a while, you can find a position that's not priced properly, and that kind of goes all over the marketplace. And the last one I would say is it kind of goes back to that understand that being convicted in what you believe in is most time the popular sentiment is right, but even so, now boom, I got a good example here. Back to the Bucks again, the Bucks situation. So, look at it there. Here
Oh,
we go.
man.
Here's the thing. So, yes, like I say, to me, there's a certain level of sports gambling that comes to my whole psychology too. So let's start there. But the marketplace believed that Kyrie, KD, Harden, wrap it up, it's done. Cool, I agree. There's a more probable chance than not they win these. But I feel like the public sentiment is a 98% chance. My view is 65-70. I feel like people aren't necessarily valuing the history of first year of the big three coming together, the injury history, the first time a coach in a situation is here. So people are overvaluing certain pieces of this situation and undervaluing the wrong ones. And I can find value in what I believe is going to happen versus the overall. So even though the overall general public is correct, yes, on paper, this is what should happen. There is still a range in there where I feel like there is the margin of error that everybody else is putting in the situation is wider. My margin of error is wider than everybody else putting. And all the times you can find those situations. Another one I would say, for example, is right now, like a couple months ago, we got everybody into the Ford trade. Now, to me, it's simple. The inefficiency there is simple. Tesla's trading at 1,000 times PE next year's earnings. Ford's trading at 10 times PE earnings. The market is inefficiently priced. If they both are car companies, and you're just telling me the only difference is Tesla gets this premium because they're a EV car company. Okay, well now Ford and GM are now transforming EV companies. Those multiples have to align. So right now the multiples are unaligned. The marketplace is being inefficient. So what has to happen is eventually the multiples of Ford and Toyota have to come up. Ford and GM have to come up, and Tesla and NIO have to come down. They have to meet at some point in time. That's the way the market works. And people are overconfident on the Tesla side and underconfident on the traditional motor side and so it's obvious to me. So even if Ford goes to a 20 2025 multiple. No, it's not going to reach the 1,000 multiple that Tesla's at. No, I wouldn't say that. But they got to come in line somewhere. So it's blatantly obvious to me that if Ford, GM does do what they do on the EV side, GM's a $50 stock or it's a $25 stock. Might take a year or two, obviously. Be just based on understanding that the way price multiples work within certain sectors. And you just got to find those places where people aren't looking at the whole picture and exploit that.
I like it. I don't like the way you tried to mix that Bucks and Brooklyn. I like it.
It's not, but like I say, the example is everybody's overconfident here and they're overlooking some obvious flaws. Like I said, the basic simple one is these big three teams don't work the first year with a brand new coach that don't work that way. So true. So like even if when everybody's all the way in one way and they're not looking at obvious other factors, most time there's some space in there to make some money because people are overvaluing certain aspects, and you got to find that undervalued piece of the argument and say, well, even though they might be right, they're not 100% right like they think they are. They may only be 75 right, so I can get that little 25% edge in there, and that's the key to every investment you want to do is find an edge. You got to find your edge somewhere in there where you feel like you are one step ahead of the other people.
Got you. So our next question for you is, right? Because I know you are also very big on the, as we speak, I know you're also big on the psychology aspect of investing, right? So, I know, we hold these rooms, you guys hold rooms, and we talk about these things all the time, right? What would you say would be one undervalued psychological understanding of investing?
Everybody knows you got to take emotions out of it, and everybody gets emotional. People are naturally emotional people. So it's, and you also have outstanding life factors that will affect your emotions, what can affect your trading. And we all preach, be a robot, have your trading plan. But everybody knows that the hardest thing is when you're not mentally in the right place to stick to the plan. It happens all the time where I say, me personally, I don't like the market today, I'm not trading. And then I end up trading.
Facts.
You feel me? That's really what it is. Just conquering that impulsive emotional side that happens to everybody, and embracing it and knowing when it happens, knowing when you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and just correcting yourself. But nobody's in your trades but you. So you're unless you trade for other people, which most of y'all not, is when you know your own account, there's nobody there to hold you accountable a lot of times. So it's only you by yourself. And sometimes we don't keep it real with ourselves. A lot of times, do what we're supposed to do. So like I say, that's the key, is just managing that emotional side that we all know we have to do, but it's hard to do at times. And we don't even realize when we are going against our principles because we're in the moment and you say a good trade, or you extra up or you're extra down for the week and you're trying to, in both scenarios you end up doing too much. You're already up, so I got a little extra money to waste this week, or you're down and you're trying to catch up trade. And that all affects your emotions of it. And we all everybody's been there. And so just trying to stay out of that emotional side is an active thing that I think everybody we're going at all times.
Yeah, that's dope. Let me ask you a question before we ask people to see if they have any questions. I have one more question. Now, I know when you break down a lot of information, you're breaking it down solely for you to see, I would in the market right now to where it makes absolutely no sense. So I think on Monday I did a trade with the SPY, and matter of fact, I think
I was talking to you.
Yeah, you was there, and it's like I tried to make sense prior to doing the play, and it don't make no sense to me because I factor in a lot of, I would say, I would say factual information, and it doesn't make any sense. So does it make sense to always try to make sense of the market? Sometimes you gotta just let it ride, because yesterday, I don't know who pumped up this SPY. I don't know who fooling, but hey, but listen. But again, GameStop don't make sense. AMC don't make sense. It's just, I don't know. It's just been a lot of confusion lately. So I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that.
For me, it was end of February, March. I had to take like 2 or 3 weeks off. Well, let me start here. I'm mostly a swing trader, for the most part. So I do mostly like a 45-day trade is my normal place. So like, but I do actively trade during the day, small stuff. But that being said, February, March, I couldn't even like really do anything, because I was so confused. I was probably like a week and a half, I just didn't do anything, because I had to take a step back and figure out what was going on, and I did, and it was kind of okay. So this is the new pattern. I feel like everything goes in patterns, and most times when you get that, I don't know what's going on, it's just a new pattern showing up that you aren't used to yet. So you kind of got to give it a little while to happen. So you brought up the GameStop situation, and it's kind of the same time frame I'm talking about. Matter of fact, right then didn't know what to do. I was confused. A lot of weird stuff's going on. I'm gonna just fall back and study it. That being said, though, last week, 2 weeks, whatever, 3 weeks ago, that once I saw the pattern come again, I was now prepared for it. I knew what to look for. I was ready. I had my list of low float stocks. That's what high short, low float list up and on my watch list, and I was ready to go. And it was probably the best week I had this year so far, because I recognized the pattern from before. So no, 100%. Sometimes you gotta fall back and just study what's going on, because it's probably gonna happen again. So if it's something you've never seen before, study it, back test it, and then be ready, because you're gonna see it again.
Big facts. Again, people, welcome. This is the Stock Street University, and tonight is Taco Tuesday. And our guest for tonight is the brother Benz. Make sure you guys are showing love to Benz and give us for the follow. At this time, if you guys have any questions, raise your hand. We just ask that, obviously, you ask a question, don't do the whole resume thing and don't say anything monetary. And feel free to raise your hand. We got the brother Benz here to answer questions for you. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. All right. The hands are on. Make sure. All right. Cool. So let's give it a second here.
All right. In the meantime, Benz, you got a one-on-one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in your one-on-one, what would you say? Just brief synopsis. I don't want you to give away the whole tea for the people, right? You gotta keep the element of surprise. I want you to say, like, what would be the most misunderstood comprehension that you typically get people asking you about?
Most of my one-on-one stuff is fundamental analysis of companies. Is what people mostly time come to me for. And I would say the most misunderstood piece is people people don't always want to go. They like to be surface level, and don't really like to go down the next step. And so they kind of understand general. For example, we'll go to EVs. EVs a good one. I could meet people and say, I think EVs are the future. So I put all the money I got in Tesla and Neo. Cool. But you can invest in both those companies if you go one or two steps down the supply chain, and go with a battery maker or the lithium ETF, something like that, and you can get the entire basket of ETF stock of EV stocks, and not have to pick and choose which one of these 27 EV companies are going to make it. So like I feel like the thing that people don't always do is just go. They understand I want to invest in X concept, but don't always take that next 2 or 3 steps to really figure out what's the best way to really invest in what they want to invest in. They go with the surface level. I want to invest in EVs, give me Tesla. Well, and just even if well, how you feel about Tesla, even if that's what you want to do, they're also probably safer. And at this point, after the Tesla run is already, even though that was kind of down, if you want to get into it, there's probably better ways to do it. So that's kind of what it is. Just peel back the onion and do one more step of research so people need to do.
I like it. My next question, right? So as people know, today's our topic that was posted was the art of being a dynamic universal investor, right? So I want you to talk about the journey as far as what it took for you to learn the essence or the necessities behind being universal, that diversification. Talk about that for me.
That's no question, dude.
Well, like just personally, I like knowledge. I like to learn stuff. So once I get interested in things, I kind of really overly research them to the point where I kind of do too much sometimes. But at that point, it's not always being impulsive. Like we'll take crypto for example. I've been reading, understanding about crypto for years, bought a little here and there, and it took me 4 or 5 years before I found the opportunity to really invest in it until I had that knowledge base built up. So I would just say you got to be kind of prepared for the opportunities is the best way to kind of answer your question. And the only way to do that is do your research on the front end when those opportunities. We talked about a second ago with the meme stocks. I was ready for them the second time around because I did the research and back tested it the first time around. So it's kind of just understanding marketplaces, understanding patterns. When you see those anomalies, document them, research them, back test them, know how to take advantage of them, and just be prepared because those same concepts most apply in every arena. Your basic investment concepts apply whether you're talking about stocks or you're trading options or you buying real estate or you talking about sports betting. Your basic concepts are universal, and you can just kind of apply them depending on which market, the ticket to the marketplace you're in. If you understand those patterns of just how things work, and that's kind of the best way I can say it. Like experience is the best teacher. And experience don't mean just time. I think people think experience means time. Now, experience means time, and then understanding what happened over that time. Like you gotta replay it, you gotta rewind it, you gotta break it down, you gotta go to the game film and kind of understand what happened, so you can prepare for those situations when they come.
I like it. All right, so. Remember, people, if y'all want, y'all can come and ask questions as well. You shy, don't worry, ain't nobody gonna chop your head off. All right. So we like Marty stated, stage rules. Please make sure you prevent from speaking resumes. We don't want any information to be misguided or misconstrued as insider information. Also, we do ask that you prevent from speaking on personal monetary numbers. That being said, Michael, what's going on? What's your question, brother?
What's going on, brother? So I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and I wanted to kind of get y'all opinion on it because I feel like it kind of ties into the expectation versus reality kind of thing where he was talking about with the nets and how people have with the market. So in a nutshell, I was pretty much talking to him and I was thinking about Prime Day, Amazon Prime Day, today, tomorrow, well, yesterday and today rather. And I noticed a lot of companies like Walmart and Target were having their own sales days to kind of compete with that. And I was thinking, obviously not for long term, but I was thinking for short term, maybe playing it, instead of playing each company, maybe just playing like the retail ETF. Because I feel like when those numbers pop and when they release the sales numbers of these companies and how they did with these big sale days, it could be naively thinking, but I'm thinking we're going to see a quick little pop in some of these companies, and I like to be prepared for it. So pretty much I'm just trying to see, is this something that I'm not, or rather I'm overlooking, and that's more naive thinking, or if that actually could possibly be a good play. The only reason I wouldn't play it for the long term was because there's so many, worries looming the market in terms of inflation, this Delta variant possibly halting the progress we've made with the economy so far. So I just kind of wanted to see y'all opinion on that and y'all thoughts.
Benz?
That's kind of what if you kind of, so talk Amazon, for example. When you pull up the Amazon chart, the pre-Prime Day move kind of already happened. It had a double bottom, bounced up last week. So there are people that are getting into the particular Amazon trade yesterday, today for the Prime Day. Who knows how it'll work out? But you had some bad news about factory workers striking and something else happened with the Prime Day. So yes, I agree with you. Like maybe not the Prime Day Amazon trade might not be it. That might have been something you should have done last week. But the overall consumer will be out. People out spending money now. And the real switch is going from like the goods, like the whole Amazon side to actually like the services side. People actually out spending money in restaurants and shit now. So like the trade has kind of changed. So yes, I'm with you. A retail ETF is a good way to go to kind of catch them all at the same time. I like it.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Pretty much what I would have did in the situation, if I looked at it from that perspective, I would probably say the retail ETF would be the most solidified that way. Like you mentioned, right? It just eliminates the need to have to figure out which is the best option. It does the homework for you, in a sense. Simplifies the process.
And I think like, especially if you find a good, now a lot of times hard to find. I don't know what you trade. If you trade on the opposite side, a lot of times the ETFs aren't as liquid as opposed to underlying commodities. But if you trade them properly, especially if you go like with the spider ETF, like it's a good trade there all the time, and it's a lot easier. And I feel like people try to overdo it sometimes. Like I feel like most people, including myself, have far too many companies on their watch list and try to do too much. So yeah, a lot of times you simplify it and run with the theme, and yes, go with the ETF, go with the little broader index with your idea, and kind of reduce your risk by picking one company over the other all the time. not even just right here. Like 99% of the time, that's probably the better way to go if you're not really 1,000% sure about one particular company.
There you go. That's what's up. Did you have another question, Michael? You can ask another one.
No, that was perfect. Because a lot of what y'all were talking about was making sense. Like how you also brought up the whole Tesla and NIO thing. Like I see a lot of people, they just put all of their eggs in one basket, And I think it's honestly more so due to a lack of knowledge and people just kind of following the herd rather than maybe taking the time off to gain the knowledge of what they're actually doing. And they'll just see a big name like a Tesla and they'll I just want to, jump in. Meanwhile, they don't know that there's the other half of the market sentiment that thinks Tesla's way overvalued and it's really a $300 stock. So, no, that was great. I really appreciate it. That really opened my eyes to some other things too. It helps me build confidence to, want to keep doing that. But again, I appreciate it.
The EV sector is a prime what I'm talking about. There are a lot of quality ETFs that you can get different aspects of the EV market. Like the one I like is Lit. That's the lithium ETF. Regardless of what company makes it, they're gonna have to have lithium in their battery. So do some lithium stocks and let Tesla duke it out with Rivian and Neo and all them, and you just collect on the backside because they all gotta buy batteries. Simple.
Awesome. Fact. And look at Major, we got a question, man.
Yeah, I guess for all you guys, if you can only choose one stock to trade for the rest of your life, what stock would that be?
Wow. Damn, that's a question, boy. I gotta think about it. Hold on. Anybody got their answer ready? You ready? Go ahead.
I got mine.
All right, go ahead. Oh, I already know yours.
Nvidia.
I knew you was gonna say that.
How do you feel like the stock split will affect the way Nvidia trades?
Well, all right. So obviously, the stock split. A lot of people are joining. Obviously playing the huge run up. So, that's huge for anyone who plays Nvidia a lot to just be on the bullish side. I think after the split, I think their move will still be the same for the most part. Obviously they're not going to be doing crazy rallies that they've been doing lately, but they still do big rallies in general. On a regular day with no catalyst, Nvidia can go up $20 or drop $20. So
yeah,
to me, I feel it's going to be the same. That's just my thoughts. I like the way they move, and I've been trading them consistently for about years, and they do the same movements.
That's what's up. We're talking ETFs, indexes, so I'm gonna stick with that theme. I would say QQQ. I feel like that I could trade that. If I ever had to trade one thing and master one thing, I feel like the Qs would be it. Give me enough movement, enough value, and I feel like it's just I feel like the Qs are the shit for real, okay? Like as far as just the companies that they comprise are the companies that really much are the ones that you want in any portfolio to begin with. And like I say, it kind of moves, and it's kind of predictable, based on the conditions of the overall market. You can trade it good on the downside and the upside.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I like that answer. That's a good answer. I'm not really a big trader. I'm more of a long-term holder, but for trading purposes, if I could only trade one stock for the rest of my life, dang.
But what if you can just buy and hold? Which one would that be?
Oh, my buy and hold long-term? Honestly, it's gonna sound cliche, but I'd say the spot. Long-term buy and hold. I'd buy.
Wow. Hold it. Yo, get this dude upstage, bro.
It sounds
how much money I lost.
I know. Molly mad right now, but honestly speaking, I mean, even over the past few years, the SPY has averaged a return of 11%. So I'm already beating inflation year over year by triple, damn near quadruple, if not, whatever the case may be. It does move fine. If not the SPY, the only other thing I would say I would buy and hold long term, if the only thing I could buy, is VDC, which is a Vanguard State Consumer Staples. I love that ETF. I'd hold that for life. Yeah, that would be the one thing I would go with. Those would be my two options, either the SPY or VDC.
Yeah, I'm here. That was gonna be my answer to SPY.
What?
Yeah.
Yo, y'all don't show no loyalty.
But you're a bear. That
Right.
That's why you don't like the SPY. You getting beat up. You get beat up constantly. So.
Bull side makes profits constantly. Their side, you got short-lived moments. That's it.
In the long term, yeah, you get eaten up.
Yeah. Does that answer your question, Major?
Yes, sir. That's dope, man. Appreciate that. But so when you like looking for that one stock, is it you're looking for volatility? Is that what you want? Because you want to trade it up and trade it down, or are you just looking for something more stable?
I mean, so for me, it would depend on the strategy, right? So for me as a long-term investor, like Benz mentioned earlier, right? I'm looking for value. I'm looking for long-term growth and stability. I'm looking for potential growth. So I'm looking for that growth over time. So when I'm looking at a company, I'm looking at an ETF, I want to see, what is in that company's past as far as economic crisis, right? How have they've been able to sustain during economic times of crisis, during market shifts, how they've been able to build, what their trajectory and patterns are for the futures, which is why I like VDC, for example, because even within their top 10 holdings, they're holding some of the most highly used products that are that have brand recognition, right? They have a loyal consumer base. They have great growth-based companies that just don't currently show signs of any slowdown or loss of traction in their market space. And then they also pay a good, healthy dividend with a great price growth traction price return over the years. So for me, I love value. I love stability. I love growth. I don't really care too much for heavy volatility. Because like I said, long story short, my long-term investments, I typically go for value and a safer investment in the markets when I'm looking at my long-term strategy because, well, that's my retirement fund. But the other guys may have a different perspective.
I'll just keep mine short. I just like the price movement of NVIDIA. I like the fact that, for the most part for me, I would say it's predictable. I would say, if there's a batting average, I bat about a 90% win trade in NVIDIA. I know how to get out of trouble. I know how to see trouble. So, and I know how to be on the better side. So those are my thoughts with NVIDIA. Why I chose them.
Let me throw this at you. NVIDIA versus AMD. Both have the merger hanging over their heads. If one merger goes through and the other doesn't go through, which is like as of today, the AMD merger is more probable. In the near future, AMD is going to give you more after split. If you give NVIDIA the split and you give AMD the merger, in the near future, meaning 6 months to a year, AMD will give you a little more growth. Just remember that. AMD been trading sideways. Well, AMD most time trades better in the third and fourth quarters anyway. The merger's holding them down. And AMD, if you just want to, on the tech side, AMD is trying their best to be the next NVIDIA. And so you're kind of getting the early NVIDIA with AMD right now, especially if the merger goes through.
Yeah, Benz, where does Taiwan fit in that equation?
So Taiwan is the backside. Taiwan actually makes the chips. actually have the fab that makes both of their chips, actually. They kind of like, for the concrete for the chips, and AMD and NVIDIA kind of designed the plans. The easy way to describe it. But yes, Taiwan semiconductor, they do need them. Like the thing about that's so. When I talk about a growing industry, nothing's growing. Every growing industry needs chips, put it that way. So for me personally, the chip sector is everything. Another that I could trade forever or own forever be SMH. Easy to trade, gives you lots of volatility in and out, but it's going to give you a continuous. It's cyclical now. It does have cycles where it comes in and out, but it's going to give you over a long-term growth regardless. The chips are the backbone of everything, literally. So if you don't understand the different levels of the chip market, that's a good place to really, really understand, because like you say, with Taiwan is so many different levels to it, because what Taiwan does, NVIDIA, so Taiwan Semiconductor is the people that get contracts to make everybody's chips. So they're not even like in competition with AMD and NVIDIA, because they need them to actually make the chips themselves. Whereas though they do something, there are other companies that actually make the machines that make the chips. There are actually companies that, so it's a very, very complex process, and each of these companies have patents, intellectual property, and it takes so much money and brain power to build one of these companies from scratch that they ain't going nowhere. We're only really starting the beginning of the digital age, and these companies that empower the digital age are so far ahead that you can't just go start a brand new chip company tomorrow morning and get to the level with AMD and NVIDIA, and even your smaller ones are right now, like your Qualcomms, your Skyworks, and all that. Like each of them have something special they do that nobody else can do in the world, and you like really understanding how they all intertwine is just critical, I think, if you want to understand the tech sector and just generally how like the world going forward, because they're the backbone of everything. We got chips in our refrigerators now, and people got smart fridges now, like can tell you when your milk's going bad. So, and we're not going backwards. You know what I mean? So right now the car industry can't make cars because they don't have enough chips. It's like that's like the two shouldn't in your mind have nothing to do with each other, but everything has these microchips in them. So really understanding that segment is like critical. I feel like you really want to invest nowadays.
I'm even looking beyond that as well with the companies who's gonna be big players in the quantum computing. So like I'm looking at Google, Microsoft, IBM, and Nokia. Well, I'm a big fan of Nokia, even though a lot of people ain't really interested. But don't sleep on the old champ.
Nokia got patents. Nokia has a lot of intellectual property that other people have stolen over the past years, and they can just sue and make a lot of money whenever they want to. And also they got some like space technology and space communication technology that they own that they can pull out. So I like Nokia. Good trade in that. I like the longer term trade. You can catch it. You can find some good contracts in Nokia that I feel like will break in 22, 23.
So I take the spy back. I'm going with Nokia. Yeah, cause y'all already know
that's
that.
Old champ,
yeah, the
J-Wise,
old champ. Yeah.
That's the baby right there.
Mm-hmm.
J-Wise has what? 3? You got 3 babies? 3 babies, and Nokia is right there.
Nokia is right on top. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Top 3. But yeah, so if anybody has any other questions, feel free to raise your hands. Come on up. It's just, we just here rocking out or getting ready. We're gonna be getting ready to start this game up in a brief moment. Hey, Jay, we streaming?
Yeah, we're live. Okay,
let me plug that. So yeah, we're gonna be getting ready to start this game up in a brief moment. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to come on up. Got another question.
I was also gonna say, guys are definitely showing love as far as to Benz, as well as just stock market move. So tell them where they can find you at, Benz.
Yes, sir. Me and my brother Justy's down there in the audience. 9 to 11 Eastern Conference, East Coast time, Standard Time. Do a show every morning. Trading shows not as formal as you guys are showing them on. You guys do a lot more direct market breakdown, be a little more trading psychology based. General questions kind of takes us wherever the conversation goes. Everybody, please check in.
Definitely. I do like swinging through there every so often. Half the time I go just to give Ben some shit. You know what I mean? Just because. But but it's definitely a dope platform. Make sure you guys are tapping in. And we got a question, Ariana. Am I saying that right?
Yes, that's right. Good evening.
After public school education, y'all.
Yes. You got it. You know, most teachers get my name wrong all the time. So, but anyways, my question is, you guys did mention your favorite stocks. Now, I like to, while I'm still learning option trading, I love to like put my money in REITs or different dividend stocks. I was going to ask, do you guys have a favorite dividend stock, or where do you just like park your money when you're waiting?
So y'all know I'm passionate about that conversation, so I'm gonna let y'all go ahead first. Who want to touch that first?
Okay, so two different questions. Park my money where I'm waiting in my trading account. I just like active ETFs. Just to have some money somewhere to park money cash that I can sell off easily and let it grow just in my trading account. As far as my long term though, I do like REITs in specific industries. So I'm more of a like Crown Castle, Digital Realty, some of those are like your digital REITs that have like data centers, cell phone towers, certain industries. Like I said, I'm more of a growing. I always go like growing industries first, and then look for the companies I like. So I kind of pick REITs that are in specific growing industries that will give you the dividend factor, but also give you a little growth in the actual share price itself. That is going to restrict dividends itself.
So, for me, like I said, VDC is one. It's a consumer staples ETF. I love it. You get great price return year over year. You get a great dividend, nice and strong. As far as, but I'm a big REITs. I do hold a lot of REITs. I'm a big REITs lover. So two of my biggest REITs would be SSIG, and O. And for me, it's just one of those things where I mean, they're holding their real estate, their real estate contracts or leases are for companies that, once again, companies I have no current foreseeable future of them not being around. You know, you're talking about Amazon warehouses. You're talking about CVS, Walgreens, Kroger's, Walmart. Like, they're holding these leases and these contracts. You know, so for me, those would be some of the places that I typically would park a lot of mine. I don't want to say park, but that's typically where I put a lot of my long-term investments. If I had to break it down to a few, so that would be three of the few.
The one REIT I bought most recently was Simon Property, SPG. They got most A-class malls. If you live in an urban area, they probably got the best mall in the area. As your smaller B and C level malls die out, and as the people who had money and were unaffected by the pandemic and or made money in the pandemic, they're gonna all go to the high end malls. Like I said, if you're in Atlanta, it's Lenox. If you out here, it's Rundle Mills. Wherever you are, it's probably the best mall you got in the area. It's probably a Simon Property Mall.
Yep.
And yeah, I just feel like, and they're also like, they're also owning brands now. They're also starting to own some of the tenants that are failing, starting to buy into those brands, and so they get two sources of income, not only actually owning the buildings, but actually have stores that they own. So, I like that. That's PG. What's the ticket for that?
Was that B as in boy?
No, SMC.
Okay, and I had one other question. So, as far as some of your long terms, do you put a stop loss on them?
On long terms?
Yes, or do you ride the waves? Like, for example, my dad, he's been investing forever. He rode the wave with GE all the way down and then rode it back up. Do you guys do a stop loss or just ride the wave if it's something?
Personally, on my long terms, so as a long term investor, I have a few different long terms. Like, I have a 6 month to 2 year long term. I have a 5 year long term. I got a 20 year long term, right? So if it's a 6 month to 2 year, yeah, I'm probably gonna put a stop loss because if it hits a certain price, I'm not trying to see a loss beyond a certain point. But if it's a 20 year, honestly speaking, my 5 years, 20 year investment, 30 year investments, I don't put a stop loss on them. One reason is I'm confident in myself and my abilities to evaluate. Two, I don't necessarily take my eyes off of the company once my money is in there anyway. So I'm still reevaluating this company quarterly, annually, semi-annually. I'm still reevaluating this company's performance projections, goals, guidance, and strategies. So for long terms, no, I don't. Like 20 years, no, I don't put a stop loss on those. And so far over the course of about 9 years of investing, I'd say, as I've gotten more comfortable in my methods, I can say my 20-year long terms have actually performed the way I needed them to. Have I made some bad investments? Thought there were some good long terms? Yeah, I have in the past. But that's when you learn. So no, long term investments, I personally don't stop loss. The major long terms. Anybody?
Oh yeah, but I would just say I 100% agree. My work is done on the front end. The only time I'm changing, I'm selling off my long-term investments is if I feel like the underlying story has changed. The reason why I got it has changed. So my growth company's not growing anymore, for example. But the actual stock price doesn't have any concern to me at all. So most times it's time to buy some more if it goes down dramatically and my underlying story hasn't changed yet.
Thank you, guys.
No problem. And Alexis, you have a question for us?
Yes, how are you guys doing?
Well, thank you, and yourself.
Great. So you guys only talk mainly about stocks, because I was really going to ask if you guys know anything about polka dot.
Talk about it. Benz, you want to start it? Just wise.
You want to bring Glenn up?
No, I only really know the major cryptos. I don't really delve too deep into the other coins. I don't have enough time to research them.
Hold on, we got.
I just sent Glenn and John.
Yeah.
All right, boom, Glenn. Do your thing, homie.
Hey, how's it going, Benz, man? Let me holler, brother. That was fire, man. I love the whole session, man. Appreciate you, man. Big facts.
Thanks, bro.
Alex, what's the questions?
Oh, I was just asking about polka dot and what's your thoughts on it?
So yeah, everybody, like I talk to a lot of folks, so that's like my fourth favorite crypto. Now remember, Polkadot is more blockchain, right? So it's not like a
like a coin or a token, right? It's more of a blockchain in itself, right? So you think of Bitcoin, that's actually a coin that works off of a blockchain. Polkadot is its own blockchain. So I like it a lot. My fourth favorite crypto stock. And yeah, it's got a lot of room to run. I think it's trading really nicely right now, but I don't trade crypto. I hold crypto, right? So
all right. So what about okay. So Stellar, so that's another one I'm just kind of holding on to right now, So I just was trying to, if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, what I would ask you is like, what is your crypto strategy? Like, so what's making you buy? Like, Stellar Lumen has been around for a long time. They've been sort of stagnant for quite a while. So I'm just wondering, what made you get into those particular?
Well, I was just I just had a couple like $15, and I was like, let me just throw into a couple things here and see what the percentage rates does and how it's been moving. It has been kind of stagnant. I have been noticing that, so that's just kind of why I was asking versus all the well, I'm only investing like 4 cryptos, so I don't exceed that, but I was just trying to see if I just need to trying to swap that out. I know this is not financial advice, so please don't give me your opinion.
Right. So I like Stellar. So I like the whole crypto ecosystem, right? But if I were to break them down, I go Bitcoin is number 1, Ethereum is number 2, right? And again, this is my opinion. And those are actual tokens, right? Then if you want to go to our Cardano, Polkadot, those are my top 4, right? And then after that, I would go with Litecoin. So, but there's a lot of research. There's a lot of white papers behind each one of these that I would advise that you really have to study, because the main thing you want to do is make sure you're getting a coin that's really solving a real problem, right? You don't want just a coin that's, either centralized or a coin that a lot of people are just getting behind it just because of FOMO, right? So you want to find something that has, a white paper that has solid backing that you can really invest. Even if I don't care if it's $10 or $1,000, you really want to invest in something that has like some room to grow and some runway. So I would say just study them out. But those are my top 4. And Stellar wouldn't be in my top 4. Polkadot would be 4 or 5, right in that range there. So
no Doge?
Brother, you know what you can do with Doge, right? but you know what? I would actually take Doge. I would take Doge over Stellar right now.
Okay.
In my opinion. Yeah.
So I have one more question, if I could ask it. Okay, so this one is a stock question. So with everything, going in cars in general, what I'm speaking of, but cars and stuff going in, with a lot of people going electric and stuff like that, what do you think that's going to do for the different ETFs and the different stocks that's like, and what are some of you guys' favorites for that move that's going to happen?
Benz, you there? I just out the way.
I'm about to work. I'll give you one. Like I said earlier, going with the supply chain line. A company I like a lot is MP Materials, ticker symbol MP. It's a rare earth miner, the only rare earth miner in North America that's currently active. Rare earth is stuff they use to make magnets, the type of magnets needed for EVs, windmills, and all other cool shit that we talk about. Kind of like I was saying earlier, kind of circumventing, taking Neo over X-Fin, but down the supply chain and trying to find one of those choke points that has to win, regardless of what EV company is successful.
You said it was MP.
MP. Yep, that's the ticker. MP. MP Materials company.
Okay. I'll do some research. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I thought you were saying Benz at first, like Mercedes Benz. I was like, oh, okay, but then I realized.
Oh yeah, no, that's what he's calling me. Long story.
Call it Benz.
Long story. That's what everybody calls me.
All right, y'all. And that was for our last question for the night before we actually Make sure you guys show love for as to the brothers for his Benz. Again, Benz, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come here for back out tours with us. Again, make sure you guys get in contact with Benz. He also does for his one-on-one services, and we're actually the winner for tonight is able to get a discount because we actually a discount from his rate as far as that he normally charges. All right, give this for us to get a discount. All right, again, Benz, I'm not sure if you saw that.
Yep.
Okay.
And real quick, like I say, shout out to y'all. The moment I came through it, y'all got a dope platform, like how y'all do. I was checking your website out last week, a couple weeks ago. Y'all do. So like, keep doing what you're doing and growing your community.
Appreciate that, my brother. Appreciate that, man. So again, make sure you guys are showing love as far as to the brother Benz. Make sure you guys follow him in the mornings as well too. 9 to 11. Stock markets for his move. And again, like I said, the winner for tonight is able to get a discount as far as from his one-on-one services. And again, his one-on-one services. If you can talk about a little bit about your one-on-one services, Benz.
So generally, I kind of ask. It depends on what you like. I'm like I said, I'm also a long-term investor that can trade. If you kind of want the basics when investing, how to break down companies, what to look for, kind of my thought process, building out portfolios, all that type of stuff. I'm 100% great on the ground level of just how to get started investing. On the trading side, if you want to actually learn how to trade, don't know anything about it, I recommend starting somewhere else, because other people have better lesson plans and stuff drawn up for that. Once you get into your trading plan and really what to do once you have the knowledge, and I got you. I kind of ask people to kind of come up with their own list of questions, submit them a couple days before to let me get everything together for you, and we kind of just go from there.
That was dope. Also, segue, have a stock investor class Saturday. University.com.
What time?
Hey, he set it up. He said it up.
I like the way he said that. He said so. Just a segue. This Saturday. Hey, what time's your class? What's Saturday?
So Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday, June 26th, you'll be having the Stock Street University investment class. So you learn fundamental analysis, technical analysis, long-term investing and dividend strategy. So it's a lot of information. You also get access to the community and the watch list if you choose to take advantage of the class. You can sign up on stockstreetuniversity.com. It's called the Gamma class. So yeah, take advantage of it. Also today for Stocko Tuesday, as y'all know, it's Stocko Tuesday, so we're gonna have the game. And we're gonna do things a little different today. Just stay tuned. I hope you guys have been paying attention to the conversation, because you never know what you may see. But yeah. So yeah, Ben, to answer your question, on Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
And so that's kind of how I was speaking. You're somebody who doesn't at all know technical analysis first. I'm listening. Like I know myself because I was taught. I'm not gonna give proper terms to proper. I'm gonna tell you what I do. Always recommend somebody something like the Saturday class first to kind of get that basic understanding, and then come to me and get my little sauce I put on it. But talk somewhere else that has their own pre-built out teaching materials they got for you, because they're going to give you the better basic understanding before I mess you up.
I like that. I like that. Alright, that's what's up, man. Again, man, I appreciate you. Again, everybody, get ready for the game.
So, are ready for the game. Have the Kahoot app already downloaded. Go ahead. You can pull up the YouTube channel if you want. Stock Street University. We are streaming live, so you will be able to take advantage of it. Jay Wise, how you got to set up this time on the game?
Same as usual. Either the app or you just kahoot.it.
Yeah, so download the Kahoot app or .it on the website. Your answer keypad, and pull up the TV on your tablet, a laptop, whatever.
IG, so whenever you get a chance,
Did
I don't know if you can see.
You know,
Yeah.
no, I did.
Yeah, you probably have to check.
I looked for it too, and I did not see it, man. Send it one more time if you could.
Are you guys friends on Instagram?
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah, I follow
okay,
him
hold
on
on a second.
Instagram. I'm gonna send it again.
Because if you're not friends, you got to go to your
Yeah, he gotta set his
The
settings
request.
message.
Okay, so let me.
Y'all
all right,
know
hold on a
Tony
second,
out
let me-
now.
Yeah, because you know what? I am technically challenged. You guys know that, right?
we got to help them.
Nah, they make it hard for us, Mr. Tony. That's what it is.
Yeah, they
It could be more simpler than that.
Renee was there talking about
Cause I didn't know that for a while too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Hey, Marley,
told
on your
us.
Instagram, hold on a second. Are you under Marley on Instagram? What's your?
Yeah, Marley Star TV. So it's like a.
There it is. I see it. Hold on, I'm gonna. Okay. No, you can block it. Oh, there it is.
Yo, that's a celebrity right there, yo. He got so many people following him, man. He can't even keep track, yo.
That was that T-Pain thing. You know, T-Pain couldn't find his message.
Yeah, so if we get a chance, Mr. Tony, it would be a pleasure to have you as a guest, my brother.
Okay, yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, I like the game. That was real cool. I like how you set that up. Really cool. Very, very informative. Yeah, really cool. Like it.
I like all the communities that are here as well too. So make sure you guys are showing again love to stock market moves with Benz, Investing Bay with Elena, wrap up with Mr. Tony. See if I
Games community with Doc Ross.
Blackwell Forum, Blackwell
Glenn.
Hey guys, I'm gonna give y'all one more one-on-one too. If y'all wanna get away tonight or tomorrow, whenever during the week, just let y'all know y'all got one. Send somebody else to me. But if you got another faithful listener that you got out there, Miss Virginia, wanna holler at me after y'all, however y'all wanna do it. Y'all got another class with them, let me know. And I got them.
Appreciate that, Benz. Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, bro.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, how it works, man. It's a community, y'all. It's a community. It's bigger than just us. So we here. So the communities that Marley just mentioned, the Black Wealth Forum, Investing Bay, Stock Market Moves, Wrap Up, Gains Community, it's a big community, man. We here for the people, so it's definitely a pleasure to have you guys, to be part of this and have you guys join us and see all the people benefit from the knowledge and information they're able to gain.
Facts, big facts, man. So again, man, y'all enjoy y'all Tuesday night. Again, tomorrow in the morning, you guys have I can give you the rundown tomorrow. We're from 8 to 9 stock market. The hell, Stock Street University. I'll be drinking. Stock Street University, and then right after 9/11, stock market move, and then you also have Mr. Tony as well too with rapper Mr. Tony. Then you got Elena on Sundays in Investor Bay. You got Monday early morning 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock with the games community. We got Blackwell with Glenn at 8:15, man. So just show support, man. Appreciate everybody.
Definitely.
Have a good night. Y'all have a good night.
For those of y'all that won, just check y'all DMs. Y'all gonna be seeing y'all game product. Y'all gonna see y'all info coming through in a sec. Benz, I just shot that over to you, so you should be seeing that in a sec.
Yeah, and good night.
Yeah.
All right. God bless everybody.
Bless.
All right, y'all. Just so y'all know, looking next, we'll be back, revamped next year. Your time. I got a real problem with side because I really don't like Middleton because he kind of remind me of Sam Cassell, like
Chill. Remember he played for the Rockets, bro? Sam Cassell was a Baltimore legend, man. You can't handle Sam Cassell slander, man.
No, and slander is that he's a problem.
Okay.
I love Sam Cassell, but Sam Cassell, when he played for the Rockets, he was a problem. For real. He was a problem. Sam Cassell, I put Middleton in that same realm when it comes to Sam Cassell and Nick Van Exel. Just a problem when they get started, man, and we just couldn't stop it, man.
All I'm gonna tell you is, well, I can't the past year or so I can't attribute to. I ain't been out there, but in recent times, you could pull up in the East Baltimore gym and find Sam Cassell cooking people at 50-some years old, like nowadays.
The word?
Yeah, he be outside.
That's what's up.
Yeah, he be outside.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, that'll be dope to see, man. That'll be dope. All right, y'all have a good night. Got the best of luck in the markets tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
God bless. Thank you.
Peace.
Great show, guys. Thank you for inviting me, man.
Good night, John. I'll be on time in the morning. Bye.
Wait.
I'll be there in the morning. I'll be there.
And Marley. Oh, Renee, I need a favor from you. I'll text you.
I still love you.
That's my sister. I can ask her anything. What up, Tom? Hey, Middleton hit game-winning shot.
Man, come on. I'm about to shut this thing down, man.
Why is he still on stage?
I don't know, man.
Don't you gotta go to Planet Fitness and go spray down with your weak knees?
J-Wise, give me a green bean. J-Wise, give me a green bean real quick, man. I gotta do something.
So we have everything. We have everything before we shut down. Everybody's information, have it? Yeah. All right, cool. All right, let's shut down. Peace.
Peace, fam. Oh, wait. Pause.